I turned down my childhood crush, who is now a single mom, because she rejected me when I wasn't at my best. Now her friends are constantly calling me, urging me to give her another chance. I'm a man in my mid-30s who spent most of his youth and early adulthood focused on academics. I wasn't naturally gifted, so I had to work hard as my parents encouraged me to. Things calmed down a bit during college, and I became more socially active. There was a girl in my social circle that I liked, so I asked her out. She laughed, saying it was unexpected, which stung a bit. She declined, stating she wasn't dating at the moment, although she clearly was, just not with me. I moved on and found a good job away from home, partly due to my academic performance and connections from an internship. At work, 2 colleagues, Tony and Steve, helped me come out of my shell. They encouraged me to join the gym with them because they were tired of my skinny frame. I enjoyed the gym and improved my physique. Tony and Steve, who were a couple, were excellent wingmen and helped me become more comfortable socially over the course of about 2 years. I later requested to work remotely to be closer to my family due to some health and financial issues back home. I won't go into details. My request was approved with the condition of returning to the office quarterly. So, I'm back home now. A few weeks ago, I bumped into Nat at the grocery store. She's now raising a child on her own and seemed to be doing well. We met again at a mutual friend's party, and she asked why I hadn't asked her out again. I told her it hadn't crossed my mind and she seemed offended. When she pressed, I explained that I wasn't interested anymore and that she had lied when she rejected me 2 years ago. She suggested that my disinterest might be because she's a single mom. Honestly, I'm not interested in dating single mothers at the moment because I'm just starting to date again and want to avoid the complexities of such a situation. More importantly, I'm just not attracted to Nat anymore. Tony and Steve are telling me I don't owe her anything, but some friends back home think I should at least give her a chance. I haven't discussed it with my parents, but my younger brother thinks I should try, while my older sister advises me to trust my instincts. I don't understand why this is such a big deal. Update: after reading the many comments and talking with my sister, I decided to resolve this situation, which has been causing me a lot of stress. I reached out to Nat and asked if she'd meet for coffee tonight, making it clear it's not a date, but just to clear the air. She agreed quickly and even apologized for any craziness. I'm hopeful the meeting will be productive and will update everyone tomorrow. Thanks for all the input. Please edit this without including any red pill theories. I don't like how adversarial that makes things, and it's not how I view the world. My sister, my mother, my cousins, and many other people in my life are absolutely wonderful women. I don't like the disparagement, so let's please keep things civil. This is not an indictment on an entire gender. Let's stop it, please. Comments like Darth Kites's, suggesting there's no benefit for a guy with options to date a single mom, especially one who wasn't interested when you were less successful, are not helpful. To be clear, the parenthood aspect makes me feel anxious and uncomfortable, but in my mind, that's less of a concern than the fact that I'm just not attracted to her. I don't know if it's fair to say my successes are a factor. People always expected a lot out of me, and Nat is successful in her own right. I know that much. She's not a bad person, I'm just not interested. J. Smith 21207, you saying that you are not interested is enough. It's pretty pathetic that she is now harassing you and having other people harass you just because you don't want to date her. That would make me more turned off towards her. Does she think that arguing with you about why you won't date her and getting other people to message you over it will make you want her more or guilt you into dating her? I don't know what she's thinking, really. I felt really awkward, so I've been making myself scarce. I do feel kind of guilty, I'm not used to rejecting people. Magda's, given that she laughed at you last time, why should you give her a chance now? She did say that she laughed because she didn't expect me to ask her out last time. I kind of believe that because I laugh when I'm nervous or surprised too. I just feel guilty, I don't like making people feel bad. Her friends are talking her up quite a bit. She does have a lot of really nice qualities, but my gut is just telling me not to go for it. I'm uncomfortable anyway. I look fun, yellow, 65, 50076. You're not wrong, she lied to you when she rejected you. That's the only thing that matters. OP, thank you. The lying is disappointing. If she had said she's not interested, that would have been fine. Then again, I do understand that sometimes women lie because they don't feel safe. I don't necessarily blame her for it, but it also doesn't exactly make me feel good. Update 2. Hi everyone, thank you to everyone who commented on my first post. This will be my last. Some of you got very angry very quickly, and I wanted to clear a couple of things up before telling you all how it went last night. I try not to attribute behavior to malice if there's a possibility it can be attributed to incompetence. I think the world would be a better place if we tried to do that a bit more and were a bit less antagonistic. I know I would appreciate the benefit of the doubt if and when I do something wrong, so I try to do the same with Nat and her friends. Honestly, I'm glad I did. Nat has been on the periphery of my life for a long time. We weren't ever really close, but being from the same town, you get the general idea of who a person is over time. I was shocked at her behavior because I thought it was unlike her. Her friends reaching out to me surprised me and made me feel anxious because I'm honestly not used to that much social attention all at once. The tone and content of the attention notwithstanding, these are not inherently bad people. I believe they are just generally good people who are behaving poorly. Anyway, what you all really want to know, I met Nat for coffee, well, tea, at a local coffee shop last night. She showed up late after. I did say it was because of some childcare stuff she had to take care of. It turned out that her son's father is very much in their lives, but just as a co-parent. The reason she is single is that co-parenting is really all they can be. Together, they did not work well as a couple at all. But from Nat's own admission, her son's father is a very good dad, dedicated, caring, and supportive. I told Nat that these last couple of weeks had been very stressful for me because her friends had been contacting me about her. I also apologized if she was offended or hurt by my saying no, but I'm not sorry for saying no. Nat stopped me and apologized herself. She said she didn't intend for any of that to happen, she just has some very loyal and passionate friends. She also apologized for how she behaved at the party and provided some very helpful context. Nat had recently started dating again and had not been having much luck. She expected as much but didn't expect people to be so uncaring about it. The last guy she met was quite cruel about her being used goods and harshly rejected her specifically for being a single mom, so that was fresh in her mind. Nat said she saw me and was attracted to me, not just physically, but because I seemed less socially awkward and could hold a decent conversation now. She was attracted to my growth. She remembered that I was smart and caring, but I was very socially awkward when I had first asked her out. Nat was adamant that she did not mean to laugh, she was genuinely just surprised because she never suspected that. I even thought of her that way to begin with. I do believe her on this front. It turned out that she was trying to flirt with me at the party, and when I rejected her, the negative emotions she had from the last rejection took over, and she reacted poorly. She said she complained to her friends, and they took it upon themselves to try to grease the wheels. To Nat's credit, the messages have stopped since yesterday after I first reached out to her and explained why I wanted to meet. In retrospect, I think I may have overreacted too. I believe this because, looking at some of the messages from her friends more objectively, it looks like they were just advocating for us to be together rather than attacking me for saying no. If that makes sense. But all the attention felt like demands to me, and I may have panicked a bit. So that's basically it. Everyone apologized, she apologized, and I apologized, and it's all a lot more mundane than I think some people may have expected. No, we're still not dating, and we're both okay with that. Though we did agree that if the opportunity presents itself down the line and the timing is right, one or both of us may try gently approaching the idea again. I don't know if I ever expect that to happen, but it's not entirely a bad thought, just not a thought I would entertain for at least a few years from now. I like my life the way it is for now. Comments like, Champion 86678, you seem like a very nice guy, actually nice, the good kind. I'm sure your anxiety about the situation played a role, but under that, you seem like a caring guy. With that said, stay away from Nat and her friends. She may not have intended the bum rush, but the fact her friends thought it appropriate at all is concerning. Listen to Tony and Steve, they have their heads screwed on right. OP, thank you. Yeah. I am grateful to have my friends. I've been a generally anxious person most of my life, so I can't say I'm too surprised that it has such an impact on me here and now. Having read both bits of your story, I am simply baffled by why you are in any contact with her or her unbalanced friends. Do you want to be in high school forever? You did nothing wrong. She was unable to deal with her life, so she sicked her childish posse on you via the net. When an adult has a problem, they deal with it themselves. No adult messages a third party about who they should be dating. None of this was anyone's business but yours, and certainly not that group of harpies. This is childish and sad. Stand up for yourself, tell her to never bother you again, and move on with your life. The refrigerator, it was someone he liked and had respect for at some point in his life, and he wanted to give her a chance to redeem herself as that person in his mind. Does she deserve it? I don't think that matters because he wanted to clear the air. Yeah, I don't think she or her friends are reasonable, but sometimes being human means being unreasonable. It doesn't sound like he's going to date her or anything. OP, thank you. I did want to settle the matter. If something feels unresolved, it makes me very uncomfortable. I'm very glad that Nat was more agreeable this time around, and I appreciated learning the context of her life. I feel very badly for her that the last guy or two treated her so meanly. I can't fathom being that callous to another person. It doesn't make sense to me. Peter. I'm surprised things didn't turn out as messy as I thought they would. I'm reading too much into this. LOL. All in all, I'm happy for OP as he seems like a nice guy, but distancing himself from Nat and her friends is the best solution now. On to the next story. Story 2. I uncovered my wife's secret affair in Paris by tracking our airline miles, cancelled her return flight, divorced her, and even managed to get her French lovers band to break up. My wife, 30, female, and I, 33, male, have been together for 6 years when I met her, and I knew right away that I wanted to be with her forever. She was everything I ever thought I wanted in a woman and more. It actually took a bit of convincing to get her to go out with me to begin with. She was new at the office we worked in, and she didn't want to get in trouble by dating another employee. But I could tell that she liked me by how she looked at me. We eventually had our first date, and it was incredible. It sparked the beginning of a whirlwind romance, and we got married about 1.5 years after meeting. One of my favorite things about her was her desire to always be learning. Whether it was a new skill or a language, she was always trying to expand her horizons. She was a very worldly person. She loved to travel and to learn about different cultures. I wasn't any of that, but I aspired to be, so I admired her for it. We did some traveling together when we first got married. We visited Singapore and Thailand, which was incredible. When the pandemic happened, obviously we weren't able to travel at all. Not being able to explore the world really took a toll on my wife. It truly was her greatest passion, and having her confined within a house for months was a nightmare for her. One of the things she did to escape was to join an online club that met once or twice a month. People would chat over a Zoom call about places they had visited and their cultures. One of her favorite aspects was the recipe sharing section, where everybody shared different foods from their respective cultures. She loved her group. She actually became pretty good friends with many of the members. They would chat with each other outside of the group meetings and play games online or watch movies together through Discord. I was happy that she was able to find a way to survive those early days of the pandemic. When everything was clear, vaccines were coming out, and it was finally safe to travel, she jumped at the first opportunity she had. Unfortunately, I was back working in the office, so my schedule wasn't permitting anything like that. She was actually laid off at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was supporting us both. If she wanted to travel, she would have been able to. We had a long conversation about it because she felt bad going without me, but she told me how trapped she felt after everything that happened. I wasn't happy with her going without me. I felt left out, but I knew that she needed that freedom, so I agreed to let her go. She left for a week and came back happier than I'd seen her in a long time. She had gone to Germany to visit one of the friends she made in her online group. She showed me a ton of pictures of them together, the things she'd seen, and the food she had eaten. I thought it was enough to satiate her desire to travel until we could do it together, but I was wrong. It only seemed to open a window for her to want to do more. I still couldn't take off and ignore my responsibilities to go with her. I explained how her traveling alone made me feel, and she agreed that she would wait until I could take some time off before she went anywhere else. A couple of months after we had that conversation, she told me that one of her friends from the online group had been begging her to come for her wedding. At first, I thought I would have enough time to request time off work and go with her. When she told me the dates, I was disappointed because I knew I wouldn't be able to go. I had a big, mandatory work conference that I had to attend. I reminded her of that, and she told me she had forgotten all about it. I didn't realize at the time, but she was lying about that. I had no reason to suspect that something was going on, so she seemed genuine when she told me that she forgot and wouldn't go if I couldn't go with her. She knew that I would tell her to just go without me. The weeks leading up to her departure were a little strange. I could tell that there was something wrong with her, but I didn't know what at the time. She was acting very nervous around me, couldn't meet my eyes a lot of the time, and it always seemed like there was something on the tip of her tongue that she wanted to say. We both left on the same day for our flights. I was so busy that I didn't even think to check in on her when her flight should have landed. When I got back to my hotel room at the end of the day, I checked my messages to see if she had sent me anything, but she hadn't. Before I started to worry, I logged into the airline's website to check her arrival time. Because I traveled for work a lot and she liked to travel in general, we had a joint account so we could accrue miles. I saw that there was a new flight logged in our history. She had landed where she told me she was originally going to, but there was a departure to Paris, France, an hour after the other flight arrived. She never mentioned anything about going to Paris while she was there. I screenshotted the information and texted it to her to make sure that it was her who bought the ticket. It wasn't impossible that somebody could have hacked our account and bought their own plane ticket. She didn't respond to me right away, but I got a message about 15 minutes after the Paris flight was scheduled to arrive, which pretty much confirmed that she was in Paris. I just didn't understand what she would be doing there. She called me from the airport and told me that she had a little extra time and wanted to visit the city before the wedding. I was honestly a little too tired to argue with her, so I accepted it and figured we would talk about it later on. It was a bit frustrating for me because airline tickets aren't cheap, especially not when someone is buying business class and first class tickets everywhere they go. As I said, she lost her job at the beginning of the pandemic. I had an incredible job, and supporting both of us wasn't an issue at all, but when she made purchases like that, it would be nice to be aware of them. I went to sleep and didn't even think about it until I woke up in the morning. When I looked at my phone, I saw that I had a text message from an unknown number. It wasn't immediately alarming because I get a lot of spam text messages daily. When I opened it to see what it was, I saw a picture of my wife standing in front of a mirror naked, with a man standing behind her taking the picture. There was no context given to the photo at all. I immediately replied and asked who the person was. They read the message but didn't reply. The conference I was attending was hugely important for my work, so I tried my best to push what I saw to the back of my mind just to get through the day. I didn't look at my phone because I couldn't stomach the idea of my wife texting me that she loved me after what I saw. When I was finally finished with the day, I noticed that the number that texted me had tried to call me twice. I got back to my hotel room and called back. Surprisingly, a man answered the phone. I asked him who he was and why he sent me the picture. He told me that he just wanted me to know that I was barking up the wrong tree by talking to my wife. I was very confused about what he was saying. I was married to the woman. If anybody was barking up the wrong tree, it was him. While we were on the phone, I noticed that he had a thick French accent. It was clear that she had booked the ticket to France to be with that guy in the picture. Out of curiosity, I revisited the airline's website to check if she had booked a new ticket back to her original destination, but there was nothing. The only ticket left was her return flight home. Without much thought, I removed my payment details and canceled her flight. I wasn't fully aware of what was unfolding, but I knew she had betrayed me. The specifics of what she told the other man were irrelevant to me. She deceived me about her reason for going abroad, using it as an excuse to meet another man. I questioned whether there was even a wedding she was supposed to attend. I wrapped up the conference and went straight home. If she was going to be unfaithful, I intended to take everything from her. She could stay stranded in Paris for all I cared. When her return time approached, she called and texted me, demanding to know why I had canceled her flight. She was unaware that her boyfriend had informed me of the situation. I answered the phone and told her I knew everything and that she wouldn't be coming back at my expense. She needed to arrange her own way home. She tried to explain, claiming I had misunderstood and it was just an old photo of an ex. I knew that wasn't true, she was lying again. I gave her one chance to come clean, and she finally confessed. It turned out the man she met in Paris was someone from her online group. He had seduced her, being a musician and the artsy type she used to be attracted to. I didn't respond and just told her she'd find divorce papers waiting for her when she returned. Then I ended the call. I didn't purchase her return ticket, she had to call several people to find someone to buy it for her since she had no money. After learning of her infidelity, I completely cut her off. Her sister ended up buying the ticket and then called me, furious about leaving her stranded. I did some online research to find out who the man was. She mentioned he had a band, and when I found him, I was shocked by his following. He was an emerging artist with a popular new song. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't resist. I blurred out my wife's face to avoid any legal retaliation and posted a picture of him on a throwaway account, tagging him. It received a lot of views, and the story I shared about him ruining a marriage garnered a lot of sympathy. After divorcing my wife, she moved in with her sister while searching for a stable job, which disrupted her travel plans. I found that amusing. A few months after posting the picture, I checked on the band's status out of curiosity. They had received mixed reactions from the image. One band member announced on Instagram that, in light of everything, it was decided the band should go separate ways. It was somewhat satisfying to know that my actions might have contributed to their breakup.